Are you a current or future physician assistant wanting to learn more about finances? Then join me on this journey to become a PA the FI way. Hi, my name is Kat, and I'm a practicing certified physician assistant who will be your host. It took me 5 years after I started practicing medicine as a PA to thoroughly dive into my personal finances after I discovered the concept of financial independence. I want to use what I have learned to help you avoid some of the financial mistakes that I have made while sharing some of the financial wins that I have had along the way. Join me as we discuss financial strategies to guide you to becoming a physician assistant on the way to financial independence. Welcome back, everyone, to the PA the FI Way podcast. I'm your host, Kat, and in this episode, I am wanting to give you some practical strategies to help you triage your busy life and to help manage the stress in your life. I recently watched Dr. Daria Lawn's TEDx talk called An ER Doctor on How to Triage Your Busy Life, and I thought the information that she shared in there was incredibly valuable for PAs, doctors, nurses, anyone else practicing in healthcare these days. I really liked the triage analogy and thought that many of you could benefit from this information that she shared. And then I will wrap up the episode by giving you 10 practical tips to triage your busy life and to help lessen the overall crazy busyness and stress that you may be feeling at times. Dr. Daria Lawn shares 3 steps for how you can triage your busy life. And in step 1, it is triage everything on your mental to-do list. And in this first step, there are 4 colors that you will use for triaging everything on your to-do list. And I'm going to break those down for you. The first color is red. And those of you who work in ER, critical care, those more urgent specialties, you're quite familiar with the color red for triage. So red is the most critical, most important things on your to-do list that you need to get done. Some examples of this could be things that you need to do where no one else can do them for you, and they are time sensitive. For example, if you have a deadline that's looming for a project and you have to finalize something and only you can do it, that would be triage red. If you have a kiddo who is sick who needs to be picked up from school and no one else can do this for you, then that would be triage as red as well. If your car broke down and it needs to be urgently repaired, that would be a red category also. As you are thinking about these items, you can write them down and label them as red, or you can mark them with a red colored pencil or a red pen to give you a visual on the important items on your to-do list. The next color is yellow, and these items are less critical than your red items, but they might be something that you need to do to get your red items done, or they could turn into a red item and become critical if you don't manage them and tend to put them off. And examples can be things that are recurrent, either daily or weekly or monthly or yearly, or they could be examples of one-time things as well. And again, as you think of these yellow items, go ahead and write them down and mark them with a yellow highlighter or a yellow pen or something like that. But examples of recurrent yellow items that are important but not critical are things like making sure you're up to speed on your CMEs, or if you're doing the PANRE LA, making sure that you're doing your questions, or renewing your DEA, or renewing your state license to continue to practice. Other recurrent yellow items could be forms of self-care such as exercising, eating nutritious foods, taking care of your mental health, getting quality sleep, also spending time with loved ones, checking your email or texts. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this later, but this would be something that you would try to batch, meaning you're not checking your email constantly or your texts constantly throughout the day or your social media constantly throughout the day for the notifications, but instead postpone it to a certain part of the day, or depending upon what the item is, maybe every few days or once a week. And then one-time yellow items that are not necessarily recurrent would be booking the things that you need to book for an upcoming vacation, such as airfare, hotel, lodging, activities, those types of things. Getting things packed up and prepared to move. Having something around the home that is broken, such as an appliance that needs to be fixed and getting that fixed. And these could also be medical things too. Maybe you have a concern that you want to get evaluated. Taking the time to schedule that appointment and going to that visit would be important so that if it is something to be concerned about, it doesn't turn into a red issue as well. And after the color yellow is the color green. So green tasks are things that do eventually need to be done, but they're not so critical that you can't postpone them a bit. They can feel like, oh, I really have to get this done, or, well, I could do this in about 15 minutes or so. But if you have a day filled with green triage items, that day is going to be eaten up by all of the things on your to-do list. So what are some examples of green items? These could be things like purchasing personal care products that you use around the home, or supplies that you need, things that you need to order from Amazon, needing to make a decision on a home decor change, such as a paint color or what tile you want to use. Scheduling routine appointments like haircuts or physicals, eye appointments, those types of things. There are definitely tons of green tasks that you likely have as an individual or as a couple or as a family. Next, let's move on to the fourth and final color. This color is black. Black items need to be buried and completely removed from your to-do list. All they do is they distract you from the other things that are actually more urgent. And when you are thinking about black items, these are the things that sometimes can feel like you are having a hard time setting a boundary or removing from your plate and saying no because you don't want to let people down. But the black items can be really soul-sucking and really not add value to your life or be a good use of your time. So what are some examples of things that could be on your black triage list? Let's say you have kiddos and you are the go-to person for all of the volunteer items, you're on all the committees, you're going on all the field trips. Think about each of those things, and if it doesn't light you up and bring you joy and you're actually not spending more time with your kid in particular, that would be an item on the black list. Think about some weekends where you have kids that are invited to tons of birthday parties and you're trying to squeeze them all in one day. Some of those parties just aren't going to happen, so it needs to go on the black list. Think about all of the meetings that come up on your calendar, whether they're for work or other types of meetings, and think about if you actually need to attend them. This one is another huge item where you're on social media and you aren't using it to learn or connect with others, you're just doom scrolling. Put the doom scrolling on the black list. Even consistent household chores or activities that need to be done, they can go on the black list, such as grocery shopping. You can do order pickup or have the food delivered to your home. Sometimes people will have nannies or au pairs that help with watching their kids as well as doing some of the meal prepping and cooking themselves. Think about other things around the home, like lawn mowing, snow removal, house cleaning, etc. Any of those things that you or your spouse or other family member don't enjoy doing, and if you have the funds, go ahead and put it on the blacklist and delegate those items out. Maybe you have a husband like mine who really likes to do the lawn care, and he could not imagine paying someone to mow the yard for him. That item will very likely never go on the blacklist for him. So always be constantly asking yourself, what areas are you spending money that not only add value and joy to your life, but also buy you back time? So let's move on to step 2. In step 1, you wrote down your to-do list items and triage them by those 4 different colors. In step 2 here, you are going to be tackling those items by their triage color. So for your red items, you're going to block time on your calendar to complete these within the next 5 days. For your yellow items, you are also going to schedule these, and if they are repeat ones, you're going to put them on your calendar, spaced out by how frequently they occur. For your green items, you have some options with those. If there are times during your day or during your week where you are just sitting there killing time, so to speak. Maybe it's in a pickup line for the carpool line at school. Maybe it's during your commute if you're not driving during the commute. Maybe it's between patients and you're waiting for a test result to come back. Those are the times where you can pull up your green items and dedicate 5 to 15 minutes and start working through them to try to check them off the list. Or think about if there are things that you could put on a subscription or auto reorder. If there are things that you use frequently, such as household products that you need to order, or again, delegate some of those items to people to do them on your behalf. And then for the items on your blacklist, those are the items that are a hard no. You need to cut them, you need to remove them, you need to bury them, or you need to delegate and not have any guilt, shame, self-criticism about this. After step 2, we move on to step 3, which is turn your triage list into action. So in this step, you can decide what are your top 3 items that you need to get done today, or you could break it down for the week. And then you also need to follow that with the list of your yellows and greens that aren't those top 3 red items. And then finally, you have your list of green items that you want to work on whenever you have time for. So those are the 3 steps to triaging your busy life that Dr. Daria Lawn recommends. I'm going to put a link to her TEDx talk in the show notes for you to be able to watch it if you would like to. And next, I want to transition to listing out 10 things that can help you with your busy and stressful life. A lot of these things were covered within those steps to triage your life, but you may like more of an itemized list of things to work on. So these are 10 different things that you can do to try to help lessen the stress, lessen the busyness of your chaotic life. So the first step is to assess your responsibilities. This is very similar to starting the process of triaging. You need to make your lists of the things you need to do, your commitments, your responsibilities, those types of things. Step 2, you need to prioritize. Again, which of those things are most urgent? The third item you need to do is to set clear goals. These goals need to be exact and achievable, and that will help lessen your feeling of overwhelm. The fourth item you need to do is delegate. And we've touched on this a little bit already. I've talked to and worked with many PAs that struggle with delegating, and not only at their job as a PA, but also in their day-to-day life. So what are examples of areas you can delegate? Well, definitely your role as a medical provider. Every single task you're doing throughout the day, think about and ask yourself, can this be delegated to another member on my team? Is this a task that the admin staff, front desk staff could help you with? Is this a task that you need a clinical medical team member such as an MA or nurse, or a member from the lab team or radiology team to help you out? If you work in outpatient setting, you understand death by in-basket and death by paperwork. Think about all of those little piddly things that come across your desk and think about a strategy of how you can delegate those to your team members. Additionally, think about your home life. Again, what are those areas that are your chores or projects or things that need to get done? But the question is, do you actually have to do them, or could someone else do them on your behalf? With anything that you delegate, you very likely are going to have to be doing some teaching and some mentoring for the process. You can't just tell people, oh, go do this for me, right? It can take some time and some training up front, but then eventually it'll save you time over the long run. The fifth thing you need to do to help lessen your stress is to learn to say no. This is one that I definitely struggle with as well. It's so challenging not to overcommit yourself, wanting to be involved in so many things. But if it's a task or an activity or an event or project that doesn't align with your priorities or your goals, then you simply don't have the capacity or the bandwidth to deal with this right now. And maybe no means no, period, or no, not ever. Or maybe no means no, just not right now, but maybe in the future it might be a yes. The sixth thing that you need to do is to use time management techniques. This suggestion is often recommended to patients with ADHD as well. It's called the Pomodoro technique. And with that technique, you are using a timer and setting it for a shorter period of time, but you're also having scheduled breaks in between. And that can help you with working on your to-do list. Additionally, utilizing time blocking can help, where you're physically scheduling blocks of time on your schedule to work on designated tasks. Also, having deadlines can help with getting things done more quickly. The seventh thing that can help with lowering your stress is to take care of yourself. So I touched a little bit on this earlier, but self-care is incredibly important. If you are constantly sleep deprived, then you just aren't going to be productive and be able to complete your tasks efficiently. The eighth thing that can help with your stress is to review and adjust. So going back to the analogy of triaging, if there's a mass casualty, you're not just triaging one time right away at the beginning. You're constantly reassessing and adjusting as needed throughout time. That's the same with your tasks and your priorities. Different, more urgent things can pop up, or maybe things actually fall off of your to-do list because they actually did not need to be done. This is a constant system that you will continue to review and adjust accordingly. The ninth thing that can help with your busy overwhelm is to use technology, but to use it wisely. For example, there are apps or tools that can help with your productivity. At the same time, though, it's really important that you aren't getting distracted again by social media and doing the doom scrolling. But those apps or tools could help you stay organized. They can help with managing your tasks, scheduling, tracking your goals, and helping you with having an efficient workflow. And the 10th and final thing that can help you with reducing your stress and busyness is to get support and or accountability. Knowing when and who to ask for help is a leadership quality. Many of us in healthcare are on the type A spectrum, and we often feel like we need to take on everything ourselves and not get help or feel bad asking for help. Your family members, friends, colleagues, medical support team, etc., they very likely want to help you because it makes them feel good to help you and also can make them feel empowered, especially if it's a medical team member where you are helping them practice at the top of their scope. Or think about those times where you've helped your friends or family members and how it made you feel afterwards as well. Another layer to this is accountability. If you are working on goals or tasks that you don't really necessarily need a lot of guidance, but rather you need accountability, someone to hold you accountable day by day, week by week, month by month to meet your goals as well. And sometimes the accountability you pay for. You're more likely to show up and do the work if you're paying for something. This might look like something on your fitness journey or your financial journey. Whatever goal you are working on, having support and accountability can really help you achieve it more quickly. I would love to hear your thoughts about this episode. You can feel free to comment on the social media posts on Instagram or Facebook, or send me a message and let me know what you are working on for triaging in your busy life, and if you found the information helpful and your key takeaway of what you're going to do to implement changes in your life. I truly appreciate you taking the time to take a listen today, and I'll see you back here soon. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you decide to continue to join me along this journey of becoming a PA the FI way. Please take a moment to press the subscribe button on the platform that you are listening to this on, but more importantly, consider sharing with another current or future PA that could benefit from the information that we reviewed in this episode. Take care and have a great rest of your day. Until next time.